Hello and welcome to Shades of San Diego. I'm Jessica Chang. This show explores the wide array of people, ideas, and cultures that thrive in our diverse community. Today's show is all about the 16th annual San Diego Latino Film Festival. It's March 12th through 22nd at UltraStar Cinemas at the Hazard Center in Mission Valley. It's 10 days full of movies from around the world, opportunities to meet celebrities and filmmakers, and exciting events. To give us more details about the festival, I'd like to welcome the Executive Director, Ethan Von Thilo. Thanks for being here with us, Ethan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So 16 years. Is it hard to imagine it's built up this much for this long?
Yeah, another year, and we're ready for a grand celebration of Latino cinema. It's going to be over 166 films. So we invite everyone to come in and just check it out. There's up to 12 films a night to enjoy and also to meet the actors and directors.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look at a montage of some of the movies and celebrities that you'll be able to check out at the festival.
I did not take it as it's now. If this thing is about you or not. Oh Lord, I wanna give you her my love, my love, my heart. I want to please say, ha 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 ha. But nothing is going right. I want to forget.
So that's just a few of the 166 films you'll see. And there's quite a spectrum of films ranging from documentaries, dramas, comedies, cartoons, and from all around the world too.
Yeah, every year we try to create something for everyone, really. So there's family films, there's documentaries, features, but also there's films from different countries too. As we want everyone to kind of explore Latino culture and the Latino cinema. You know, if you can't afford to go to Chile, Argentina, or Brazil, why not just come to the film festival and check out these amazing films, and you kind of get engrossed in the world. So it's wonderful to see.
Exactly. There's one called O Paio from Brazil.
Yeah, O Paio is
about?
excellent film. It stars Lázaro Ramos, who was our tribute last year, actually, came to the film festival. And it's all about Carnival in this one town in Brazil. And it's amazing, anyone who likes musicals, because they actually start singing in the film. But there's also a little bit of drama there, too. So it's a beautifully shot film. This film was so successful, now it's a popular TV show in Brazil.
Oh, really? There's also another one from Spain called Fuera de Carta.
Yeah, Fuera de Carta, we're so excited to be having this film. Number one, it stars Javier Cámara. Javier Cámara is famous for the Pedro Almodóvar films, and so everyone will recognize his face. He's actually in 3 films this year.
Wow.
Fuera de Carta, Torre de Suso, and Girare Soles, which is the Oscar-nominated film from Spain. And so Javier Cámara, this is a comedy. Again, this is what we try to do too, is like with the first clip too, also we want a little bit of fun films, you know, like there's a music, and in this case it's a comedy from Spain. So we want people to enjoy themselves, come out and explore Latino cinema and get a little bit of everything.
Paraíso Travel is from Colombia.
Yeah, Paraíso Travel stars John Leguizamo in it, so he's known to U.S. audiences.
Big name.
And that's something to keep in mind too, is that these films star people that are both known in the television world and in Latin America and Mexico, but also here in the United States. So John Leguizamo is in this film. Also, the stars a Mexican actress named Ana de la Reguera, who's a wonderful actress. And the film follows a young couple who travel from Colombia through Mexico to live in the United States. So it's a common story, obviously, of immigration that we've heard before, the difficulties of getting to the United States, and then once you get here, you know, is the dream for real? And so, like, trying to survive in that environment. But I just love the film because you definitely, having John Leguizamo in there, he provides a little comedic parts in there, which I think is fun.
Yeah, he's great. And also there's a film called Cachao from Cuba, and Andy Garcia is in it, right?
Yeah, Cachao is a famous musician from Cuba, a renowned musician, and most of the documentary, it follows certain concerts that he held, in particular in the Bay Area in San Francisco. And to have Andy Garcia there championing this artist, Andy's actually made documentaries about this artist before, so he's in the film, introducing him on stage, actually playing the bongos on stage. So again, once again, the festival's a little bit of everything. You're going to see some familiar faces, but then also you're going to see some new faces that hopefully are the next big thing out of Latin America as well.
Exactly, continuing the cycle. Now, besides all those countries we spoke of, there's also going to be a lot of films and filmmakers present at the festival from Mexico, right?
Yeah, Mexico definitely is. There's more films. I think there's about 40 films from Mexico, and then I think that's one of our strengths is definitely catering to the local Mexican audience who loves telenovela stars like Eduardo Yanez will be here March 21st. People like Adal Ramones, who are comedians on TV, like the David Letterman of Mexico.
Yeah.
But every night there, you're going to meet a Mexican actor or director, and right before their film, so you get to hear a little bit about the film and then have a Q&A after the film.
That's great. And we have a clip of one called Amor, Dolor y Viceversa.
Viceversa, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what this is about.
Actually, it's a Spanish and Mexican co-production. It stars Barbara Mori, who will also be here March 21st, and she's like a big telenovela star who's now moved to films. And she's searching for someone. She thinks she's in love with someone, but it's kind of a mystery too, kind of a thriller. This is an intriguing film.
Yeah, sounds like it. Let's take a look at a clip from Amor, Dolor y Viceversa.
¡Vamos, campeón! ¡Tira, Paco!
From the thriller mystery kind of movies, let's go the extreme to the family films.
Yep.
There's some animation films that look like a lot of fun, especially there's one called Raton Perez 2. It's a sequel.
Yeah. This film was a big hit in all over Latin America and Spain, but also a big hit here when we screened it maybe 2 years ago here at the film festival.
Okay.
So we brought back the sequel. You know, just like Hollywood, Spain, Latin America, they're producing sequels. The industries are definitely growing, and this is part of our whole Para la Familia for the family series. We actually have a family pack of tickets this year for $35. A family of 4 can see 4 films, so it comes out to be like $2 each film.
That's
so
great.
It's a wonderful deal. You can see Raton Perez 2. You can see Dora the Explorer in person, and then we have The Missing Links, which is a film never before screened here. It's produced by Antonio Banderas. It's a brand new animated film. The animator will be here. So there's something for everyone. Every weekend in the mornings, there's something for families.
All right, let's check out Raton Perez 2 now.
Es una niña. ¿Pisa dentaria a recolectar?
Canino superior derecho, señor. Aquí tiene las coordenadas.
Señor Pérez, me parece que deberíamos dejarlo para mañana. Salir a estas horas sería imprudente.
Mi querida ratoncita, nada tendría sentido si no estamos dispuestos a cualquier hora y ante cualquier dificultad a cumplir con nuestro destino, que es darle alegría a los más pequeños. Para eso existe nuestra organización.
This movie, just looking at this clip, is really cute. It's like the rats are playing the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, it's basically the Latino version or of the Tooth Fairy, which is, so everyone knows about Raton Perez. They've grown up with hearing about the Raton Perez.
Oh, really?
But also it's about, again, it's a typical film with the kids, where the parents are not paying attention to them, and so the kids meet the rats and they have to save the world. And so it's a wonderful, fun film. Again, when you think of Latino cinema, that's not your first thing to think about.
Yeah.
A lot of times we think about Amores Perez or some more serious films. But the Film Festival is all about celebration, new films, exciting films, fun films. So it's definitely a place to check out. Also, all the films have English subtitles too for everyone to enjoy.
Right, and there's so many more genres to talk about: horror, crime movies,
Yeah.
documentaries too, and we'll get to talk to some of the documentarians coming up later in the show.
Good.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for
Thanks for
joining us
inviting
and
me.
sharing
Thank
the plethora of films we're going to get to see in the next few weeks.
Great, thank you.
Still much more to come on Shades of San Diego. Meet 3 of the festival's talented local filmmakers, and after the break, you'll get a preview of a gripping documentary that reveals the untold story behind the 7 undocumented victims of the 2007 wildfires. Stay with us. Welcome back to Shades of San Diego. You've probably heard many of the heartbreaking stories behind the 2007 wildfires. 11 people killed and dozens more injured. But our next guest uncovers a side of the firestorm you may not have known much about. I'd now like to welcome Laura Castañeda, producer of The Devil's Breath, a documentary about the undocumented people killed by the flames while hiking through the East County. Thank you for joining us, Laura.
Thanks for having me.
What inspired you to make The Devil's Breath?
Well, I'm really not, I'm more come from a news background. So at the time I wasn't really working full time for a news organization, but I really felt that as a journalist that part of the story was never really covered very well, not only locally but nationally, because we did have a lot of national media here. So that was one of the things that inspired me. The other thing is that I produce a show that runs on KPBS called Stories de la Frontera, Stories of the Border. So it was just a natural thing to try to cover a story like that would be put into my show, and my father was kind of prodding me, saying, you know, that's a natural, you have to do something.
I'm sure this idea just developed and exploded into something much bigger.
Well, it did, and the thing about it is that it wasn't planned. You know, it was like from one day to the next I decided to go ahead and do it. I was able to secure 2 really good friends and colleagues, a photographer by the name of Willie Williams and an editor who's phenomenal by the name of Joaquin Elizondo, to work with me on it. And we all knew what was going to be involved, because for every minute that you see on television, as you know, it's about 10 hours of production.
Oh, yeah.
That's not including research and everything. And everything was unfolding really quickly. The story was unfolding as we were speaking and talking about doing this. New developments were happening.
Right.
So we had to really work quickly and get the information.
Right. Throughout that whole process, what was something that really stood out to you that you uncovered, that you had no idea you'd stumble across?
The 911 calls that some of the survivors were making to try to get help when they were caught out in the middle of the fire, in the flames, and the whole situation was unfolding. And some of those calls I later found out existed. So it took a months of trying to get a hold of the 911 calls, but we did. And it was chilling when I heard them. It really opened up a whole new avenue, a whole new, part of this whole story that I didn't realize.
Right.
And it started to make me, as a journalist, question whether or not San Diego County is really ready, the 911 system, as it stands now, to handle an emergency where you have so many people who may not speak English as a first language.
Exactly. Let's take a look at a clip from The Devil's Breath that tackles those 911 calls.
Cesar tries calling 911 again and again.
Yo sé que están quemados, ya le dije. Segura, señorita, es que si no hacemos nada, nuestros compañeros, los otros 3 compañeros se van a morir. No, yo entiendo, todo el mundo está trabajando ahorita para ayudarles, pero está muy difícil encontrarlos en los cañones y montañas, ¿ok?
Their call is transferred from agency to agency. First California Highway Patrol, then the California Department of Forestry, and finally Homeland Security, the U.S. Border Patrol.
Mire, deme su número de celular.
No tengo, señor, no tengo, no sé el número.
¿No sabe el número?
No sé el número, no es mío.
Ay, ay, ay. Permíteme un segundo, perdón un segundo, ¿eh? No cuelguen, no voy a colgar.
And there are language barriers.
911.
Oh, excuse me, speak Spanish?
Do you speak English?
No.
Un momento. Are you the person that's lost?
Eh?
Hold on.
Speak Spanish, please.
Un momento. 911 emergency.
Hey, you speak Spanish?
No, I don't. No, I don't, sir.
Hey, speak Spanish, please.
Just a minute.
That's so scary, watching those. Do you think had the dispatchers spoken Spanish, things would have turned out differently?
I'm not so sure, because as you'll see if you see the documentary, the situation that those men were in, they were very, very, very far out up in the mountains, and the firefighters, it turns out, really couldn't even get to them if they wanted to, because it was so hot and so much fire. So I really can't speak to that. Plus, I really wasn't in the call center. I don't know what other issues those operators were facing that day.
But you got an element of this story that
I
no
wasn't
one else,
searching for.
Yeah, and no other journalist has gotten. So aside from that element of the documentary, you also focused on a family who sadly lost their mother and wife. Can you talk about that part of the film?
Yeah, I think that part of the story, Maria Guadalupe Beltran, she was the mother of 4 American children. All her children were born here. She was undocumented. Her partner was undocumented up in the North County. And her father passed away in Mexico. So she and her brother, who also lives in the North County, decided to go to the funeral in Mexico. And her partner didn't want her to go and pleaded with her not to, but they made the decision to go. She took her 2 youngest kids with her and then came back, and of course the kids crossed safely, but her and her brother got trapped in the fires on the day of. Her brother was really badly burned and she ended up dying. And you know, the 4 kids were left behind, and I think that was really, really very, very sad situation. Very sad.
And you really capture that in the film. You just feel for those kids and for her partner.
It was really hard not to, and you know, the other thing, I think that story, out of all the stories, any of these stories, was the one that got a little bit more media attention in print. I saw it more in print, and some of the Spanish language media covered it a little bit. But the man, you know, Felipe Mercado, was just left in shock. And even while I'm interviewing him, you can hear the kids kind of screaming and playing in the background. And it's kind of chilling to realize what he's left with. You know, she's gone and he's going to be left raising those kids, and it's, you know, any parent can really feel for it. And I think it hit me a little bit harder personally because I have a 2-year-old son who's about the same age as the youngest boy. And so just to think of being ripped away from your mother at such a young age, it was really, really a sad situation.
Yeah, what do you hope people get out of watching your film?
I hope that people realize what happened, because I think a lot of locals don't even really realize what happened. It's been 2 years, and I think it's so easy for us now that we've all kind of moved on with our lives to kind of forget what happened, and that there's still an aftermath to this whole story. There's people that were left behind without a provider, without a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, whatever the case may be, and just to kind of really put a human face on the issue. This is not a documentary about immigration. Should people be allowed to do this, or that's not what this is about. This is just simply telling a story in history of San Diego that happened here, and just trying to put a face to it. That's
all. All right, thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
And you can watch Laura's film, The Devil's Breath, at the Latino Film Festival on Friday, March 13th at 6:30 p.m. at Ultrastar Cinemas. Coming up, a teen filmmaker whose movie will debut in the Latino Film Festival. Plus, learn about Tijuana's success stories after the break. Welcome back. Lately, when you hear about Tijuana in the news, it's all about the violence and corruption. But one local filmmaker wants to reveal a brighter side to the city in his film called Imagining Tijuana. I'd like to welcome Isaac Ardenstein to the show. Thank you for being here, Isaac.
Thank you for inviting me, Jessica.
What drove you to make this film, Imagining Tijuana?
Well, I've been working on this project for about 2 years, and initially my inspiration was all the stereotypes that I heard about Tijuana, Tijuana's dark legend, going back to the old Agua Caliente casino, the gambling, the liquor, and, you know, sort of that myth of Tijuana. And I had just finished a documentary called Tijuana Jews, which dealt with the Jewish community in Tijuana. And I was able to do a lot of research and obtain a lot of the images, you know, from Tijuana going back to the 20s to the present. Another factor was something that's kind of new to Tijuana, Tijuana's Walk of Fame, where they honor people that have distinguished themselves in different areas, be they artists, be they athletes, doctors. The founder of the first maquiladora is a member of Tijuana's Walk of Fame. So it was a combination of factors.
Yeah, so you interviewed these very successful people, people that you don't necessarily think about. When you hear Tijuana, there's so many negative connotations. You think of the drug lords and the corrupt cops kind of thing. And here, we're looking at a clip right now. These are some of these success stories, right?
Yes, that's a very enterprising and pioneering businessman in Tijuana. That's the founder of the first maquiladora in Tijuana, Mr. Enrique Mieri Terán. And what I do, I creatively juxtapose images of Tijuana behind them. I'm trying a different thing. Rather than going for the traditional interview style, I'm working with green screens and giving different backgrounds. That's David Amos, one of San Diego and Tijuana's most famous orchestra conductors, TJ Homeboy.
TJ Homeboy. That's a great nickname. Yeah, so many people that I haven't known about, so I'm sure that a lot of San Diegans who go to the film festival will be enlightened by this side of Tijuana. You know, what do you think about Tijuana's reputation now? I mean, like I had said, so many negative connotations, you know, spring break is coming up and people are told not to go to Mexico or to be especially wary. I mean, do you feel like this is overly cautious? Do you feel like this kind of these warnings are needed?
Well, you know, the people that I interview are highly intelligent. They're very aware of what's going on, and they don't avoid the present situation. This is not just a rah, 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 Tijuana, everything is fine. The reality of what's going on in Tijuana is very strong. And unlike in the past where most of the image of Tijuana was really skewed or stereotypical, what we're seeing in the news is happening. Now, if you were to ask me to make an assessment whether to go to Tijuana for spring break or not, the wisdom is that the drug lords are not targeting tourists. It's sort of an internal fight amongst them and with the authorities. But you can be caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. Unfortunately, you know, that's the reality, but that's not all of the reality of Tijuana. The founders of the Walk of Fame say, well, this is Tijuana's other cartel, the positive cartel.
The positive cartel, exactly. Well, you can find out more about Isaac's film and all the Walk of Fame people on March 21st at 9 p.m. at the Ultrastar Cinemas. Thanks, Isaac, so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And after the break, you'll meet a high school student filmmaker who worked on a documentary about sea life preservation. Stay with us. Welcome back to Shades of San Diego. Out of the hundreds of filmmakers involved in the movies you'll see at the Latino Film Festival, several of them are high school students. One of them joins us today. I'd like to welcome Laura Osborne to the show. Thanks for being here with us, Laura.
Thank you.
So Laura, you're part of the Media Arts Center Teen Producers Project, where teens are involved as the filmmakers. Tell us what that experience has been like for you.
This experience has been good, just being in the class and everything. It's my first time doing media arts, and I've learned so much in the class.
What sorts of things have you been doing? Shooting, editing?
Yes, we shoot and edit the films, and we capture footage. And from, like, we went to the beaches and just captured footage there.
Yeah, tell me what the documentary that you worked on that's going to be in the film festival is all about.
It's about MPAs, marine protected areas, about our oceans and then environment and things. And we pretty much just put together a lot of clips from like the beaches and how to protect our oceans and stuff.
Yeah, some vital information, especially nowadays with everyone thinking about going green and everything. Yeah, well, let's take a look at a clip from the Teen Producers Project documentary.
You know, over 80 MPAs around the world have been working, and they show results of fish that are actually 30% bigger than those that are outside of there. And there's higher biodiversity, there's higher production of juveniles, and there's data. You know, we've seen this happen all around the world, and even in California with some of the earlier MPAs that we had in the Central Coast.
So what were some of the more valuable lessons that you learned from making this film, Laura?
Just the techniques it takes to put a film together and how to edit and shoot a documentary.
What's your favorite part of the filmmaking process?
I like to edit, just the final cut, putting everything together and stuff like that.
Yeah, editing, seeing it all, the final project. Yeah, it is an amazing experience. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Laura. An amazing film, and good luck to you in the festival. You can watch the Teen Producers documentary on March 17th at 6 p.m. and be sure to check out all these films yourself at the San Diego Latino Film Festival, March 12th through the 22nd at Ultrastar Cinemas in the Hazard Center in Mission Valley. Log on to sdlatinofilm.com for more information. Thanks for watching Shades of San Diego, and we'll see you next time.
Furniture provided by Underground Furniture in Pacific Beach. UndergroundFurniture.com.
Stay with Channel 4 San Diego for more exciting, unique local programming. Channel 4 San Diego, an exclusive service of cable television.